We welcome you to the beautiful campus of East Point. We at East Point Group of Institutions offer limitless opportunities, imparting quality technical education and helping students to develop precocious aptitude and equip necessary skills for a successful professional career. Our training and placement cell guide and encourage students through every step until placed in reputed companies. East Point Group of Institutions, building skills from the last 3 decades.
Good morning, everyone. One quality of leaders and high achievers in every area seems to be commitment to ongoing personal and professional development. I'm Shami, Assistant Professor, CSE Department. Gives me immense pleasure to extend a very warm welcome on behalf of Department of Computer Science and Engineering, EPCET, who has clubbed all of us for 5 days faculty development program on cybersecurity and blockchain technologies. East Point Group of Institutions aims at building a better world mankind by imparting quality education through the learned academic fraternity who have dedicated themselves to the motto of education plus humanity. This group is committed in promoting social, cultural, and educational aspirations of all the sectors of the society. East Point College of Engineering and Technology holds a vision that aspires to be a globally acclaimed institution, recognized for excellence in engineering education, applied research, and nurturing students for holistic development. Light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity as sunlight expels. We will have our traditional auspicious virtual lamp lighting ceremony with prayer song as a tribute to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge.
पद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमा आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणापुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयदां जाड्यान्धकारापहां हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम्।
May the darkness of ignorance be swept away by the dawn of self-realization. Thank you all. Now I request Dr. Senkamalavalli, Associate Professor, Department of CSE, to present welcome speech.
A very good morning and warm welcome to one and all. On this occasion, I would like to welcome you all for the Faculty Development Program on Cybersecurity and Blockchain Technology, organized by Department of Computer Science of East Point Engineering College. Anything is possible when you have the right people to support you. I welcome our Chief Patron, Srimati Ramadevi Venkatapati Ma'am, who has been our pillar of support for all our endeavors. I welcome our CEOs, Sri Pramod Gowda Sir, Sri Rajiv Gowda Sir, for their continuous guidance and encouragement. Some people look for a beautiful place, others make a place beautiful. Our executive director, Dr. Shankar Pal sir, who made our college a pleasant place to work. The essence of great leadership is influence, not authority. With this quote, I welcome our influential leader, our principal, Dr. T.K. Satish sir. Leadership is not about titles, positions, or work hours. It's about relationships. With this quote, I welcome our convener and beloved HOD, Dr. Emlyn Chiney ma'am, who created conducive work environment in our department. We have here with us excellent experts from the field of cybersecurity and blockchain technology who will be enriching our knowledge with the rich experience. I extend a hearty welcome to all our delegates. I welcome all the delegates for this session. The participation, I think, is one of the best method of learning. I wholeheartedly welcome all the participants who have come to learn the latest technologies. I am sure you all will be richly benefited by the expert lectures. I wish you all the best. I once again welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. He is the man of distinct vision, an idol of knowledge and experience and inspiration to all of us. Now I welcome our beloved principal, Dr. T.K. Satish sir, to share a few words.
Hello. Good morning. Am I audible? Thank you very much and warm welcome to everybody for the 5-day FDP program on cybersecurity and blockchain. My sincere thanks to the Department of Computer Science and Engineering for organizing this event as such. Today, cybersecurity, in fact, if you look at the way in which essentially just a few years ago, only the laptop and the computers and the servers were connected to the internet. Today, the refrigerator, to the gym machines, and to the toast maker, everything is connected to the internet. So, looking into that particular front, I think the way in which essentially the problems can happen over a period of time are immense, and that is why essentially the knowledge of cybersecurity becomes very, very important. And similar so with regard to the blockchain particular this, because the way in which we are transacting today with the central repository, that itself can vanish over a period of time. So given these two particular scenarios, I am very thankful to the Department of Computer Science and Engineering for organizing this event so that everybody becomes knowledgeable on what are all the basic in the steps that we need to be able to take to prevent any of the cyber crimes or any of the particular crimes. So what all about cyber security? That's one particular sub. And the other particular thing is about the blockchain. Blockchain is not just about the bitcoins. It is about every particular this. It can be with regard to your the records that essentially will keep it with regard to the properties or any other particular front. So in that particular sense, I think the immense opportunities are there in the regard to the blockchain particular front. And these two particular this are essentially looked at by 2025 they look to be almost like garnering a huge revenue base in that particular fund. So given this particular this every staff and every student of the computer science and engineering particular faculty and the students have to be aware of this field. So thank you very much for organizing this. I look forward to joining the expert talk as such to learn more and then be enriched with this particular talk. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you, sir. The secret to success is good leadership, and good leadership is all about making the lives of your team members, our workers, better. Now I request Dr. C. Emlyn Shiny ma'am, Head of the Department, Computer Science and Engineering, to share her views on cybersecurity and blockchain technologies.
It gives me a great pleasure to welcome all of you on behalf of the entire Computer Science and Engineering Department for this FDP on the cybersecurity and blockchain technologies. This FDP is intended to be a forum where researchers can meet in online and discuss the latest in the cybersecurity topics. Apply to communication systems and identify new application. Security is very important nowadays because it protects all categories of data from theft and damage. Data breaches are happening in all the fields, including healthcare, agriculture, textile, in all the areas. So it's very important. So here we are having totally 10 sessions, morning 10:30 to 12 and afternoon 1 to 3:30. So all the sessions we are having highly qualified industry people and academicians. We are having the hands-on sessions. So all the sessions will be useful and it will be informative. So I welcome all the participants presenting. All sessions will be enjoyable.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am. Blockchain technology has infiltrated all areas of our lives, from manufacturing to healthcare and beyond. Cybersecurity is an industry that has been significantly affected by this technology and may be more so in the future. The purpose of this faculty development program is to offer comprehensive coverage on applications of blockchain in cybersecurity, privacy, digital forensics, and provide a more in-depth discussion of how blockchain can be utilized for cybersecurity and privacy in healthcare and in various sectors. Now I request Megha Menon, Assistant Professor, CSE Department, to introduce our resource person, Mr. Saurya Ghosh, Corporate Trainer, Webel, Kolkata.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning to one and all present. I feel extremely privileged and honored to be given this opportunity to welcome the resource person of the section, Mr. Saurya Ghosh, corporate trainer, Global Kolkata. On behalf of Eastern College of Engineering and Technology, I, Megha Menon, Assistant Professor of CSE Department, cordially welcome our resource person, Saurya Ghosh, who has been working in the industry for 3 years. It's been a well-known proverb that action speaks louder than words. With the leaders like Mr. Saurya Ghosh, the proverb seems to be do justice. We know that he met with an accident and still he was ready to take the session without any hesitation. That shows his dedication and passion towards the profession. We are praying for your speedy recovery, sir. We are so obliged to have a person with abundant knowledge as our resource person today. Please welcome Mr. Saurya Ghosh. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our resource person, Mr. Saurya Ghosh, to take over the session. Welcome you, sir.
Hello, am I audible? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay. First of all, a very good
So please
morning.
switch.
Yeah, go ahead, ma'am.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
No, sir, go
And
ahead, sir. Proceed.
yeah, I met with an accident. That's a different personal issue. I don't want to take up that thing into it. The first thing that I want to means thank EPCET for giving me an opportunity to present or provide a lecture on cybersecurity. And just getting into the topic of security architecture from the word go, I don't want to waste any more time. So let's start. I just wanted to know one thing that what means is everyone ready for means is everyone on the platform of cybersecurity basics? Is everyone knows the basics of cybersecurity, or we need to start it from the very basic part? I can share a few things I want this station to be a very interactive one. I don't want it to be in a simplex mode. One-way communication is not at all accepted or encouraged. So everyone over here will be working with cybersecurity from the day one, or will be working with the technologies. So let's start the process and just let me share a few things first. Just a moment. Working with a single
Sure,
hand,
sir.
it's tough. It's tough. And just is my screen visible? Hello.
No, sir. No, sir. Share screen, sir.
Just a moment. Let me go ahead and
Sure,
share
sir.
the files only, because
Yes.
okay, I don't know what is the issue. Let me first go ahead and means okay, fine. Uh, I don't know. It will take some time for uploading the internet connection, because I stay in a very remote location nowadays. So there might be an issue with the internet connection. The first things first. What exactly cybersecurity is all about? Means, from my point of view, cyberspace is a subset of information security. We have three terms in our hand. That is the term, or the main theme of today, that is security architecture. Now, if we break it down, the security architecture, we will get two terms. One is security, another one is architecture. Now, again, if we break it down, security, from my point of view, it can be broken down into two halves majorly. One is information security, another one is network security. I'm taking data security under information security, and the another one is network security. So, being a practitioner or being a security practitioner, afterwards, you guys will also face this kind of situation. What are the job roles, or what are the projects that are being assigned to security consultants or security professionals or security practitioners? What are the day-to-day operations that are given to them? It is majorly divided into two parts. One is analysis and detection of threats, vulnerabilities. These things means one part deals with the detection of threats, another part deals with the prevention methods, the patching and prevention curing systems. That is the other part. So, detecting anomalies or detecting malicious events in your system is a part, or job of a security professional. On the other hand, curing or fixing those problems is another part of the same person, or might be a different person, but it comes under the job description. Now, this detection part have some components or some elements to deal with. On the other hand, when we deal with taking measures, that are some other components or elements. Now, security architecture, when we think about it, or when we think of it about a security architecture, we will have to keep one thing in our mind, that security architecture will be different for each and every corporate house. And why it is different? We cannot have a single architecture for every company, because that will not suit. We will have to find a model. we will have to find a way to look for the requirements that we are looking for. That means we will have to create a customized model which suits us the best. Which suits us the best. Now, if I divide corporate infrastructure into two halves, one is IT infrastructure that we knows very well, that deals with the devices, processes, technology, people, which are related to IT infrastructure, and the other one is operations technology. The other one is operations technology. I will first try to break down IT infrastructure because that is one half of security architecture, another half is operations technology. Now, IT infrastructure, as I said, it deals with three major things: people, process, and technology. Now, there are several devices. So we will have to look into those devices. But believe me, when you are designing an architecture, means someone comes to you or proposes you that this is my company or organization. The first question you are going to ask that what is the business model? Means what are your business needs and what are we trying to protect? That is the very basic question we need to understand, right? So IT infrastructure means I am dividing the entire corporate infrastructure into two halves. One is IT infrastructure, another one is operations technology. Now, why? Let me go ahead and try to give you a visualization of what exactly operations technology is all about. If we think about if we think about ITC as a company and someone called you as a security consultant and requested you to fix a loophole or a problem that they have faced. Now, when you get into the premises, you will get a paper on which it will be the entire infrastructure will be documented over there. You will have to try to understand each and every aspect, each and every point of communication under that infrastructure, right? Means each and every device, each and every connection, and processes, the ongoing processes that is going on. So IT infrastructures, routers, switches, firewalls, load balancers, all those things, systems that generally we use, and the operations technology. I have taken an example of ITC. Why? Because I'm talking about operations technology. Why? Now I will try to give you a view. Operations technology, why it is important? Because infrastructure security or infrastructure means when we are dealing with IT infrastructure, let's not forget that IT infrastructure is used for communication. But there in the back end, there is a business infrastructure also. Means a business process or a model is running on. Like if we think about the production of the first means a wafer of ITC, the production house in Pune, they developed a line of means where they take the input of potatoes, and at the end of the line a production of chips, packaged chips, just gets out of the production line, and they don't allow human beings over there. It's totally a robot handled environment. So now think of this: when you are a security consultant or you have been given a job or a responsibility to fix a problem, where you will have to find out the problem where it lies. So you will have to turn every stone where the problem lies. Now, infrastructure security, what we are going to do? We are going to document, not their documentation. It might help. It might help. But we will have to create a document out of our own, and it will take time. So infrastructure, we will have to note down each and every device, each and every process, each and every dependent steps and the configurations as well, to understand if the problem lies in the infrastructure itself, or the problem is with the operations technology. Now, why I'm talking about the operations technology? Because if any of the devices that are part of the operation technology gets damaged or starts malfunctioning, our entire day of production will be stopped. Our entire day of production will be stopped. And if it happens, it will be a huge loss for the company. So you will have to look for each and every point or each and every corner, including every processes where the problem is. This is the sole thing. This is the sole thing of whenever we are going to create an architecture for a corporate house, we will have to do a analysis first. This is the first step. We all know software development life cycle. We all know because we all come from a computer science background, right? But along with software development life cycle, we need to understand, or we need to append one thing, that is security development life cycle. That is security development life cycle. Why? Because we as a consultant might get into a company and try to fix the issue and get out of it. But that might be done once. But if we do not check the entire health, or do not prescribe them with the proper way of aligning devices or maintaining the health or network baseline in a proper way, then some other problem will pop up on the other day. So a security architecture is not something that it is already modeled. Yes, there will be some models. We will have a look at some models there. Like I can remember of ISMP, or Information Security Management Program, which is there. We can apply it, right? But at the end of the day, each and every business requirement or each and every business need is different. And if we get some time, we will try to look at into NIST or NIST. There are different documents related to information security or security architecture. So first things first, cybersecurity. If we think of this, don't take cybersecurity as a means. I have always thought of cybersecurity as a subset of information security, and means when we are connected with the cyberspace, then only cybersecurity is our concern. If we are not connected with the cyberspace or the internet, cybersecurity is not our concern. But each and every device that we are using without the internet, it's kind of means it's next to electricity, or something we need it every day. So architecture, from my point of view, we have already spoke about it. Break it down into two halves. One is infrastructure security, another one is operations technology security. Fine. Now, the most commonly used terms that we generally get in information security or cyber security, whatever we say, that is what I wanted to gauge, that where we are standing, If I see a few terms, and if somebody from the attendees can help me with the definitions or the ideas or the concepts behind this. The first point is asset. Anyone from the group can help me with the definition or a concept of, not definition, the concept of asset, threat, vulnerability, exploit, payload. Anyone? Because this is not a class or something like that. We all are here to exchange ideas and concepts. Because if anyone can help me, can answer this, it will help us immensely. Because time is very short. We have 1.5 hours of time for security architecture. And if we need to understand security architecture till the end, this terms need to be understood in a very good fashion. Anyone? I know the PPT is not visible. Don't worry. I will share the PPT with Emily ma'am, and she will forward it to everyone. Don't worry. Whatever I am saying, it will be there in the PPT. Hello, anyone? Asset, vulnerability, payload, exploit. Okay, fine. Don't worry. Let's talk about these things first. Assets. When you are given a responsibility to create or develop a security architecture for a company, this will be your first job. This will be your first thing that you will have to understand the assets of the company. The assets of the company you will have to understand means what is precious to the company, what is important to the company, what we are trying to guard or protect. That is asset to the company. And obviously, intellectual property is means that is also a part of means say designs or something that the company is looking for as a vision down the line 5 years from now. Uh, so that is also a part of it. So assets means what we are trying to protect, what we are trying to guard. The next is vulnerability, or the next should be threat. What exactly a threat is? Threat is something that you know I am keeping something or I have something to protect, and you are getting threatened. You are getting threats. That means you know you are protecting something, and there might be loopholes, or you might lose that. You might lose that data, or you might lose that particular asset if something goes wrong. If something goes wrong, right? So threat is something that you are getting threatened for. You are protecting. You are trying to protect something, and you are afraid that something might happen to the asset. So we will have to protect that asset, right? Now, the next thing is vulnerability. And if everyone means, I would request everyone to have a copy and a pen. It might help because at the end of the day, we might have to draw a diagram where this little components will help us understand security architecture, means what are the elements. The next is vulnerability. What exactly vulnerability is all about? Vulnerability means a loophole or a system flaw or something that can be penetrated or that can be exploited. Means it's a weakness in the system. Now, I will come to this thing that a design flaw is called means a flaw in the design. That is something, and a flaw in the code that is something we call it a bug. So vulnerability is something that a weakness. It can be from the design's perspective, it can be from the code's perspective, but that is the weakness in the system. So vulnerability is something that can be exploited, and we are getting threats because of the vulnerability. Now, the next term is exploit. What exactly exploit is? If there is a weakness or vulnerability in our system, then an attacker or an intruder might try to exploit our network or our infrastructure, and the next term will come in relevance to vulnerability, that is payload. What that person is transferring to my system or my network to perform the exploit, that is basically the payload. Fine. So we have a few terms. Now there are another terms as well as hack value. Means what is the amount of means someone an attacker or an intruder will invest some amount of time, some amount of computation and resources. Well, and that person must understand what is the hack value of this operations. Means what he is means it's kind of a return on investment. What I am going to get if I do this. So that is the hack value. The next is TOE or target of evaluation. When you have been given a task to evaluate a system's security or a infrastructure security, you will have to understand where your confidential information or what are the most important devices or what is the most prioritized segment of your infrastructure, because you will have to prioritize accordingly, because the CEOs, the CIOs, the board of members, those systems will have confidential file rather than L1, L2, and all those people, right? So TO is something where you will have to prioritize the information that is stored in the systems, and accordingly you will have to decide your job or your action. Now, these are the commonly used terms that we generally get in cybersecurity or information security. The next thing that we generally come into or come up to, that is just a minute. That is the data or the information that is stored. Means what kind of data we have stored in our system. The category one or the first is the personal data. We all know that personal data, there are medical records, there are educational records, or if you think it from the corporate point of view, the employees' information, the pay slips, their CV, their resumes, or all those information which are personal to the person. Next is the organizational data. Obviously, we have three categories of data under the organizational data. One is the personal information, the another one is the intellectual one, and the third one is the financial one. And now in this era of IoT, we have different sensors and different servers who works with the sensors along with it. So data of IoT data is also there. Now the next point or the next thing is we call it a CIA triad. We call it CIA triad when we are trying to build a security architecture. This thing is very important, or these terms are very important. One is confidentiality, another one is integrity, and the third one is availability. Confidentiality means a privacy. In a single word, confidentiality means privacy. Integrity, if we think about integrity means that the file or the data is not tampered without the permission of the source. Means the data is not tampered in transition, the data is not tampered in rest. So integrity is something where the data or the information is not tampered. We will have to ensure that with the term of integrity. Availability means whenever the a legitimate person wants to access the information must be available. That is the point of CIA triad. And we think of CIA triad, it's like a triangle: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And when we are designing a security architecture, these things we will have to keep in mind that there should be a balance. There should be a balance between these three. There should be a balance between these three: integrity, confidentiality, and what we call availability. Okay. Now the next part is the impact of security breach. What can happen if a security breach comes into or hits you? The first is ruined reputation. Your peer group might try to access information or client's information. It's leaked client information. The next is vandalism. The third is theft. The fourth is revenue lost. And the fifth is damaged intellectual property. Anyone needs any explanation for these terms? Means ruined reputation, vandalism, theft, revenue lost, or damaged intellectual property. Anyone? Okay. Till now, any questions? Hello? Am I audible? Till now, any questions? Okay, fine. No questions till now. Now, from whom we are trying to guard our information? What are the types of attackers we generally get? There are a few categories, and out of which we should be afraid of the black hats and the gray hats, right? The white hats are the good guys. The amateurs are fine, but they lack the technical skill and the logical skill as well. Obviously they are threats, but they use third-party softwares and tools. Threats are majorly from the black hats and the gray hats. I believe I don't have to means say something about the black hats and white hats and all those things, right? Okay, fine. The next part that we are going to deal is what exactly, what are the categories of malware that we generally uh, get while we are trying to secure our network. What are the types of malwares? Everything that we get, it's malicious software that we use as malware or termed as malware. The first one that I will say that is virus. The second one is Trojan. The third one is worm. The fourth one is spyware. The fifth one is adware. The sixth one is a bot. The next is ransomware and the scareware. So, what is a virus? A virus, which is a malicious executable code that is attached to other executable files, right? So it requires a human intervention or a trigger to execute. Next is the Trojan horse. Trojan horse is something where it hides under a legitimate or uses a legitimate application, and it uses a shell or it uses a cover to get into a system, and afterwards it's removed its cover and starts operating. That is the Trojan horse. Worm, generally the difference between virus and worm, that virus cannot replicate out of its own, whereas worm, it can replicate out of its own. The next is the rootkit, modifying the operating system to create a backdoor, kind of to get command and control, and all those means that where you will have to, where the attacker need access of the system whenever he needs. Then they might use a backdoor, or they might create a backdoor in your system to access your system at any point of time, right? Now, if you guys have a pen and a paper along with you, There are a few indicators where if a system got compromised, then there are few systems, few indicators are there, or few indications are there, which shows that your system is compromised. What is the first one? The increase of CPU usage. Increase of CPU usage. The second one is decreasing computer speed. The third one is computer freezes or means operates abnormally. Web browsing speed gets decreased, and some unexplainable network connections which you have never seen comes into in front of you. The files are modified in an unstructured way. Few files are deleted. There are presence of unknown files, programs, and desktop icons, unknown processes that are running. We can get into the process monitoring part, where the processes, the daemons, all those things goes into a systems that runs, and we can check the dependent processes and all those things there also. So programs that might turn off or trying to reconfigure themselves, that is a indication. Email is being sent without the user's knowledge or consent. These are some kind of indicators or some kind of indications which are related to means cyber attack or cyber that your system got compromised. Okay. Okay. One more term that is we call it a blended attack. Means there are different ways of attacking a system or attacking a network, but when different kind of attacking methodologies or attacking technologies are combined into a single one, it's like a mechanic. He tries to fix a car, and he just doesn't know where the problem lies. So he carries the toolkit and carries every tool that he have, because he don't know what the problem is. So a blended attack is the one that is being generally used by an attacker to work or to penetrate or to compromise a particular network. There are a few examples. One is Nimda, Code Red. These are one of the examples of this kind of blended attacks. Okay. Now, when the network is compromised, what are the ways to uh, reduce the impact? To reduce the impact, the points that we generally work with is to communicate the issue, means to the partners, to the vendors, and to inform others that this kind of situation has arisen. So please be safe and try to protect yourself from this day or this point of time, and because we have identified the attack or something from this day onwards. Okay. Obviously be sincere and accountable. Provide the details to your vendors and partners so that they can understand what kind of attack you have faced. Understand the cause of the breach, means if it's a data, if it's a breach, what kind of breach it is, or whatever problems or what are the impacts you have got, you have how it impacted you. That details needs to be jotted down. Uh, Now we will have to understand the breach from another perspective as well. That this kind of breach doesn't happens to us in future. Why I am saying it? Because each and every attack, there are signatures. There are signatures, means some attacks are known attacks which are already registered or which are already updated in database. there are few new attacks which are not updated. So if we get something new, we will have to take that, and we will have to address that. We will have to fix that. There is a term called malware reverse engineering. So these things comes into act, ensures, and after that, when you are already being attacked, ensuring to screen the systems is also your part. And the last thing is that we will have to create awareness. We will have to create awareness programs. We will have to educate employees and people who are connected with the organization about cybersecurity and how to use the network and cyberspace as well, because we all know human is the weakest link in this entire theme or this entire concept, because human can be compromised, or human can be easily trapped by providing any kind of means. Okay. The next thing is motive and objectives of an information security attack. I repeat, motives and objectives of an information security attack. We can term attack is equals to motive plus method plus vulnerability. I repeat, motive plus method plus vulnerability. What we are means when what is the motive of attack is modifying information, information theft and fraud, disturbing business operations. Now, the next thing we come into is information assurance and information security. Information assurance is kind of the big picture when we are trying to develop an architecture, and out of which a subset of information assurance is information security. So there are a few points related to information assurance and related to information security. If we say that information assurance is the steps taken to protect information and informational systems to ensure their confidentiality, integrity, availability, and non repudiation. That means information assurance is dealing with the entire, all the components of data. Whereas information security, the protection of information systems from illegitimate access, use, alteration, disruption, and destruction. So, information security is dealing with or trying to protect data. It don't have a reporting mechanism, it don't have an incident management plan, or it doesn't works with disaster recovery or anything like risk management part. It is not concerned, or it is not bothered. It is only bothered about securing information. But information assurance is something different, where it is the entire set of securing information or data, right? On the other hand, if we say another point against information assurance, that IA focuses on securing information as well as ensuring quality, reliability, and accessibility, whereas information security, it only focuses on securing the information. The same term only focuses on securing the information. Now, information assurance is much more strategy focused, right? On the other hand, information security means it's like in information assurance, it focuses on employing security policies rather than building security infrastructures. So, information assurance is much more theoretical, or providing a guideline how we can secure or how we can build a secure system. Applying policies, creating policies is part of information assurance, where we are developing a strategy or a plan That is information assurance. But information security is much more practical. Means it deals with tools and tactics, where the focus is on developing a security software and an infrastructure with a combination of multiple firewalls, IPS, IDS, the HIDs, the NIDs, and all those things. Another term related to information assurance is it specifies the ways of managing and protecting critical information, right? But when we talk about information security, it specifies technological tools to fix loopholes in a system. Information assurance, on the other hand, it is concerned with conducting security audits and applying security policies. But information security, it concerns with development and deployment of security application, right? I will come to the next point of information security management program. What exactly, when we are trying to develop a security architecture, what we have, what we are going to do is information security management program. Now, information security management program is a process focused on designing, implementing, and the maturity of security practices. Means we have a set of requirements which are being handed, or which we got it from the documents. Means from the requirement analysis, we got it, and now we will have to design it, and after designing it we will have to forward it to all the people who are concerned or who are aligned with the security, or who are concerned with for fixing the security posture of the organization. So it is a process which is focused on design. Obviously the design will be based on the requirement analysis, and then we will have to implement that design, and the maturity of security practices. Obviously each and every organization who are working in this domain, or working for a time being, they might have some security practices or some information security practices. So means within a due course of time, while we use our expertise or knowledge, and along with that, if we blend this to protect the IT assets of an enterprise, that is the sole theme, or the sole purpose of creating an information security management program, right? Out of this information security management program, we have another term, or we have another concept, that is called information security management system. And it is a combination of complex organizational, operational, and technical measures that can provide availability, integrity, and confidentiality of the information, suiting the needs of any business process. ISMS take a systematic approach for considering various requirements of security from all areas of the company. Now, we will get into another part, that is what are the different phases of information security management program. There are three phases, and the phase one means what we are trying to do is we are trying to create or develop a, uh, a security architecture, or a information security management program, out of which information security management system. And the steps are, the first step is define the scope and boundaries of the ISMS. Define the scope and boundary of ISMS means what we are going to deal, what are the things that we are going to include into this system, or information security management system. right? Now, after we have understood that these are the things that we are going to include in this system, or while we are developing the information security management system, then we will define an ISMS policy. And after creating or after building the policy, we will have to forward the policies to every concerned person, because when a policy is being created, that must be forwarded to each and every concerned person, who are means obviously security concerned persons, right? In step 3, we will have to define the risk assessment approach, and this is one of the very important part while we are developing an ISMS. The risk management, because if we remember, there are different categories of risk. Means there are different the mitigation techniques of risk is different depending on the means the weight, or depending on the level of risk, and how it is going to impact us. So risk assessment approach needs to be done in step 3. Now in the fourth step, we will have to take time to identify the risk. Means what are the risks are there while we are thinking of the business policies and the corporate requirements or the corporate needs, right? In the fifth step, we will have to analyze and evaluate the risk. After jotting down or after identifying the risks, that these are the risks that we might get. Now we will have to prioritize the risk, because it's impossible to address each and every risk. We will have to prioritize, and we will have to look for the risk that we cannot evade, means there is let's say as an example, someone has developed an application, and a particular interface or a particular feature has created a problem. Someone reported a problem, or the developer sees that if I remove this feature or if I remove this interface, this threat will be mitigated. Now, for mitigating this threat or risk, so we will have to understand what kind of risk is associated with a feature or a requirement. Means if the requirement is much more heavier, or it's very important to us for our business logic or our business requirement, so we will have to take that risk, and we will have to try a way where the risk is also mitigated and our purpose is also fulfilled. So the fourth step is identify risk, and we will have to prioritize it. Or the fifth step is analyze and evaluate the risk. The sixth one is we will have to undertake, or we will have to take care of the risk that we have understood. Means the risk treatment or the risk assessment part is there. Now, in the seventh step, or in the next step, we can say that we will have to select a few controls, or we will have to define a few policies where how we are going to manage the risks. Now, in the next to it, after we have decided how we're going to deal with the risk that we have identified, we need to obtain a management approach of the proposed uh, residual, or the proposed residual risks. Right now, after we have created a document, or a approval, or we just after creating the policy, we will have to talk with the management that this is the policy that we have decided, and keeping the business requirements in our mind, these are the risks that we have addressed, and this is the policy we have designed to mitigate them. We need an approval from the management, and after we have got the approval, after we have got the approval, there is a few things that needs to be done. That is policy documentation, and another things that will come as subtasks, like list of risk and inventory assets, reports on the result of the risk assessment, report on the result of risk treatment, standards of measures of the risk, record of the residual risk approval. So these things we will have to take into account. Now, uh, what is the program or the information security program that we are talking about, or we already spoke about? What are the goals? What are the goals of this information security program? The first one is, by if we create or if we develop an information security management program, what we are going to get, or what we try to what are the objectives of creating a information security management program? We will be able we should be able to measure the performance of the information security methods that we have applied. So we must be able to measure the performance of information security methods that we have applied. The second is centralizing all processes targeted towards information security. We need to centralize, or we need to take all the processes under one roof to check if the processes that we have applied to information security, are they aligned with business logic, business requirements, and everything is fine or not. If there is a conflict, we will have to work on it. The third one is, effectively we will have to manage resources used for information security. It must not happen that to create or to build the information security program, the IT budget might go up to a such high that it's not feasible for the company to support this information security management program. So we will have to look for the resources, and obviously the people who are going to be a part of this, that also must be allocated prior, or we should look into that also. Optimize the development and expenses towards resource use for information security. Obviously the same thing means the IT budget and all those things we must look, or we must think about resource optimization. Resource optimization when we are developing this kind of information security program or security architecture. Obviously, managing risks are there, and we will have to. This is one of the most important piece when we are developing a security architecture or developing an information security management program. This is the most important part. We will have to understand the risk, and based on those risk, threats will come up. So obviously, managing the information risk that exist in the organization means, for example, let's think about the insider threat. Let's think about the insider threat. Means there is a term that I can remember, that all the security measures that we take, it is created for unintentional leakage, or unintentional means these are all created for accidental purposes. But if someone does it intentionally, means let's take an example. If someone is using, or there is a policy for the office mail, that you cannot send an information or an attachment to a different domain. So that person, if that person wants to send information using the office mail, it will be denied and it will be logged that someone tried to send a mail to a different domain, and this was the attachment and it was good. That same person used an external device or external, it can be a pen drive or whatever it is, and stored it and went off. So, what security postures we apply, whatever security architecture we use, whatever measures we take to prevent data loss or security breaches, these are all for accidental or unintentional cases. But if something is being done intentionally, it's not only tough, it takes huge amount of time to identify, and the only thing that can help is authorization, authentication, availability. This few terms will can help us and obviously the network baseline or the log monitoring. And you must have a very good network baseline or a very good network monitoring operations running to understand this kind of means insider threats. Okay, now what are the advantages of having an effective ISM or effective information security management program? For implementing an IMS or ISMS, it would only not only benefit an organization, but it will save major financial and data loss, and which are literally irrecoverable if anything gets damaged. So there are two terms that we can say. Few people says that prevention is better than cure, and few people says that prevention fails. That is totally true. That's why the concept of detection came into act, and a continuous monitoring is required, because detection works, but prevention fails. In a due course of time, prevention will not work, because it is kind of like a patching or a temporary solution to a problem. It will not work for a very long time. So what are the advantages if we create a ISMP or an information security management system? It will increase the chance for IT investments in the company. Obviously, if you have a very good standard, if you follow a good standard, there are different policies, different standards which should be followed, and it is already documented that a company should follow this kind of policies there. So it can help you increase your or grow your company. That is the first thing. The second one is information security related expenses would be reduced. Though at the first place, when you are creating a program, or when we are creating a system, it might incur some cost, but for a longer time, for the down the line 5 years or 10 years, you already have a setup. You just need to enhance it, you just need to modify it, and you just need to fine tune it. Means there are different databases. What I'm talking is, there are different threat intelligence databases, there are different signature databases which are connected to your firewalls, and if you have a in-house SOC, no, or if you have a outsourced SOC, or whatever, or a contracted one, whatever you have. If you have an existing security posture, means you have already invested in it. Now whatever is there, you just need to modify it, you just need to say, till now you have on premises service. Now there is the space is giving you a hiccup, so you decided to go to Azure for cloud security. Now, when we think about securing the cloud, what you can do it of your own, or you can ask your service provider or cloud provider that I want to make sure that the cloud security is being provided by you. Then the cloud security in the cloud provider will say, it will be done in both ways. Means, though I will take the responsibility, but both the parties will have to agree on few terms, right? Because this is exactly that happens. So what I am trying to say is that if you have a security posture, or if you have a security architecture at place, the guy who is coming to create or modify or fix the security architecture, he might take some components from your elements, or some processes from your existing architecture, and add up or add on something to make it a more fine tuned, or something that is much more optimized. That is the point. So if we have created one already, then uh, in due course, or in down the line, it will obviously means decrease the expenses, or cut down your expenses related to information security. That is, and obviously data loss, if something happens like that, then it's always better to secure your system network than losing your data. The next thing is, the next advantage is information security will be effectively implemented, managed, and monitored. Obviously, sorry. Obviously, if you have an existing setup, say a in-house stock, as I said, or a contracted one, or a outsourced one, whatever you are using, whatever method or process method you are using, the point is you are already in that, means you are in the process or you are in the race. So you just need to modify it according to your need, but you must have an existing thing. That is the point. Obviously, when you have a information security management system, it will obviously look into the means look into fulfilling the information security goals of the company. And obviously, the last one, that is why we are going to develop our information security management system or a program, because we want to save ourselves from the intruders or the attackers. The next thing that comes into part into threat is information means security architecture, that is threat modeling. Yeah, threat modeling is something which is, I will not say new, but in comparison to other methods or in comparison to other security technologies, threat modeling came up a bit late. But believe me, this is one of the most important and one of the most means right. It is one of the most important part or phase while developing information security architecture or whatever we say, because if we are not being able to identify threat, which is the core of threat modeling, and there are different there are several tools. One tool I can remember is Microsoft Sdlc, which is a free tool. You can obviously try it, where you see you have developed a software. So using that tool, what you can do is you can document or you can draw the diagram of your software, and at the end of the day, when you have diagrammed the software, you can check what are the threats that might pop up or that might be there while you have created this application or a software or this software. So you have an option to fix this. So threat modeling is something that should go along with your software development lifecycle. Means your software developers must be a part of this threat modeling process or security development life cycle. And it starts from the phase of designing in a software development life cycle. So there are a few steps in threat modeling. One is identifying security objectives. Obviously, that is the sole purpose or the sole theme behind every architecture. That is identifying security objectives. Second one is application overview. Obviously, what we are going to deal with. It is like the abstract view of the application that we are going to deal with. Decompose the application, identify threats, identify vulnerabilities. Okay, the next part is obviously the information security, enterprise information security architecture, or I call it EIA, or we call it EISA. That is enterprise information security architecture is something that is used as an outline to present and future structure as well as the behavior of the security processes of an organization. Means it is kind of a the document or the created or whatever we have created till now. If we try to document whether the processes are there, what are the things that we have taken to create an architecture, that is basically the EISA, or the documented architectural note, or whatever we say, a document of the information security architecture. Mm, Now, what are the important parts, or what are the benefits of creating an architecture? Means EISA or a documented architecture is it identifies the activities which are needed to strengthen the information security system and provide various ways to increase the security of data. Obviously, when we have a documented it happens several times that after we have created an architecture or a model for a particular corporate organization, what happens? Some other guy comes in, who is much more much more knowledgeable, or is a better expert, comes in and tries to fine tune it, that if this particular thing is being modified, it will help us. So that is the reason, if we go to an means a person who deals with who is dealing with these things for last 30 years or 25 years, he have a view that if these things are being modified, it would be a very good. So you need to document these things, to strengthen the security architecture of a particular organization. Okay, the next thing is it helps in security audit, because you have the objectives and the processes, they are documented in a very clear fashion. So it helps in security auditing, and obviously, it helps in project management. Means, as I said, that if we create an architecture for a company or an organization, each and every team who are a part of that organization will have to follow the policies, and this will have to follow the framework. Rather, I should say, will have to follow the framework, and no one should try to evade, or no one should try to escape it. This is one thing that one should keep in mind. Now, what are the steps that is important for creating information security, or means security architecture document? We will have to gather all information related to data, risk, security, technology, organization awareness, policies of the target uh, business. We will have to identify the requirements of high value information security drivers and specific documentation related to it. We should get legal approval for high priority projects. We should design a plan for a project management. We should design a initiative towards effective information security implementation, because only planning these things, and if it is doesn't get implemented, it will stay in the stage of planning only. So implementation is important, and but it means we will have to make it in a timely fashion. That is important. Identifying the efficiency and effectively means, as I said, that if something, a bit of fine tuning or a bit of modification helps in using optimized resources, that we will have to look into. Okay. And the next part is, at the beginning, when I was talking about the, architecture, I said that there are a few things when means, if we break down information, or if we break down security, it can be broken down into two hubs. One is information security, another one is network security. Now, as I said, network security, information security is obviously the part that deals with information or related, or processes. Those are related to information or data. Sorry, but network security is something else, where we have a set of devices, where we have a set of sensors, or set of obviously devices, and a monitoring system, a monitoring system where we can get the alerts, we can monitor the health. So why I'm saying this? Because there is a term which is called defense in depth. Creating an architecture which is doesn't have multiple layers, it will obviously feel, or it will obviously uh, feel, because penetrating a single layer, and if someone gets the data, or what that person is looking for, it's not good. So defense in depth, or multi-layered security architecture is what is very important. So The next part that we will get in security architecture is network security zoning. Means we need to create different zones. We need to create different zones into a network or a corporate infrastructure. We should have the untrusted zone or the internet zone. We should have demilitarized zone or DMZ. We should have enterprise zone. We should have extranet zone. The most what should I say? Uh, the most important or the mostly created zone is three: intranet zone, DMZ. And these are the mostly we will be able to view. These zones are generally there. DMZ means the internet zone, which is the untrusted zone. Uh, and what I am saying is, I am saying it on the basis of a firewall. Means we have a firewall as a perimeter device, and a connection gets terminated on that particular platform. And there are different interfaces or different ports, and different interfaces are alerted, or different interfaces are connected, and they are descripted or added a description that this is the intranet or the local network. This is the internet or the untrusted zone. This is the DMZ or the public access part, where people can access, where the publicly accessible servers are stored. So that why we create zones, because as I said, that if someone gets access to the intranet, that is very often. So what we create a DMZ. Whatever public requests are we are getting, we will have to direct that request to the public servers, or the means the DMZ part, and we have to create a policy, or we have to create a something, an architecture, that no request will be allowed, or from the DMZ to the internet, or these things means string means very strong policies regarding this network zoning. And there are other zones as well, but I will call them as sub zones, because external demilitarized zone, internal demilitarized zone, people create it. But from my point of view, we generally get in broader sense these three zones: intranet zone, the local zone, internet zone, the untrusted zone, and the DMZ. So network zoning is important, and we will get several documents or several information related to network zoning. Okay, now the last few things, that is defense in depth, or what exactly we should consider while we are creating an architecture. If we think of the layered architectural models, the reference model and all those, means I'm not relating it because that is, though it's relevant, but from the security architecture point of view, the core, or the most important thing that we are trying to secure is data. So that is layer one. Above the data, there is application, right? Now, I'm not breaking down application into two application, or I'm not breaking the application as system application and means user application, because I know that everyone knows that system applications are something which are trusted, obviously, and there is a specific location, or there is a specific part or reserved in memory, where the system applications or the system files are stored, whereas user files are stored in different location, and they cannot interact, or they cannot means user application cannot store files in that location. So I am taking application as a whole. I'm not breaking down into system application or user application. So covering the data, there is a layer of application. Now, above application, we have another layer, that is host. Above host, we have another layer for that is internal network. Above internal network, we have another layer, that is perimeter. And above perimeter, we have another layer, that is physical. And above physical layer, we have another layer called policies, procedures, and awareness. So we have this 7 layers or multi-layered concept of securing data. So at the core at the very basic or the core, we have data, and these are the different layers. These are the different layers where we will have to look into how we can secure each and every layer, so that if a security breach happens or an attack is being performed on our network or infrastructure, that person will have to get through or will have to work with all the gateways, will have to work with all the gateways, or have to penetrate or find way outs to evade this all the 6 layers, and then only it can get access to the data. Okay, and next is the policies. What exactly I will say that there are different categories, means different categories of policies, and several policies are there to means to create a guideline or to make your system, your network, or your organization secure. Uh, Policy, if you ask me what exactly policies are, I will say these are a set of rules or a set of a set of rules or protocols which are implemented by an organization for ensuring that all the networks or users who come under the domain of the organization follow all prescriptions associated with this policy. There are different types of policies. Means we have general policies, we have server policies, we have promiscuous, paranoid, permissive, prudent. These are the general categories of policies. Then we have general policies, we have server policies, we have firewall access and configuration policies, we have backup policies, VPN policies, acceptance user policy, user account policy. Means there are huge amount of partition or huge amount of policies that we can apply. But again, I will say that keeping it simple is much better. And when we create a policy, obviously the policies are important. But keeping one thing in our mind, that if we burden our processes, people, means process technology and people, with huge amount of policies for doing everything, then it might be a problem with faster data delivery, means faster work growth, or whatever I say, that work speed will be impacted. Means if 7 to 10 constraints are there for before forwarding a file, then someone might think that rather than forwarding it through email, I should go ahead and hand it over by my hand, because I will have to use 5 to 10 checkposts or 5 to 10 checklists to forward a file. So implementing huge amount of policies which are not important, or if we can minimize the policies, it will help us. It will help us very much. And a few things more, creating policies in the firewall and implementing them is important, because firewall is the first device, or we call it perimeter devices, where the connection gets terminated in most of the cases. So and firewalls works with behavioral approach to a signature approach, means anomaly based, behavioral based, and a signature based. So this firewalls, we need to configure it. A misconfiguration in a firewall can be very harmful. So configuring your firewall, your IPS, and obviously taking offline information from the IDS, these are very important. And we are coming to the end of this session. Uh, so what we try to jot down, if we try to jot down, this is that information security or security architecture is a combination of processes, people, and technology in which softwares or applications along with hardwares and means very strong policies. Obviously, policies are there. Very strong risk management proposals or documentation is very important. And as I said in the first place, that each and every company will have a different model or a security architecture depending on the business logic or the business requirements. So each and every company must look for a model that suits that company. We can have different architectural models, but we will have to find one that will work for us. So this is what I have to share, and from my point, I will share the PPTs and the notes. Means there are several links which will help you to understand security, means information security management program and security architecture. NIST is one where they have documented what needs to be done by a corporate organization and what should be. There are different compliance, different standards that must be followed. And there are means from the threats point of view, there are different enumeration means threat enumeration sites from where we can recognize the threats as well. So what I will do is, due to my internet connection, as I said, I am staying in a very remote place in West Bengal, and the internet connection, and you might be surprised with the fact that I don't have a broadband connection here. I don't have a broadband connection, so I'm using mobile internet for this class. And fortunately, I don't know that you guys means I was audible throughout the time or not. If it is supported or not, I really don't know. But due to this bandwidth constraint, I was unable to share my camera. Uh, and I will share the entire documents, whatever is there with me related to security architecture with the host. And this is all from my end. Thank you. And Emily ma'am, please, you can take it over from here.
So thank you, sir. It was a great session. I hope everyone enjoyed the session. Participant, you can post your queries in the chat window. Sir will address them.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, one question is, who is responsible for the network security in an organization?
Okay. Obviously, the network security engineer. We generally look for professionals nowadays who are capable of everything. Means he is a good developer. He is a good network security engineer. He is a means everyone. He is a good systems engineer. Obviously, a network security is a part of a security consultant, means a security engineer. But a network engineer is also where because we know that we are in the era, because when we started, it was CLI based. The routers, the switches, everything we used to access is via a CLI. But nowadays, what is happening? It is getting automated. Means we are getting devices which are means intelligent, and we access it via a particular platform or a centralized platform. So now, at this point of time, a person or a IT personnel must have the knowledge of everything. Means starting from Windows operating system. I'm specifying it. Windows operating system means I'm talking about the server part, the Windows server, right? The Linux operating system, because that is very important to understand cybersecurity. Because whatever servers you are going to see, all are hosted in Linux. So the Linux operating system and the network security, because it is though the job of a security engineer, but finding a role or looking for a role for a security engineer itself, it will minimize your chances of getting a job. So it is everyone. Means network security engineer can be responsible for it. A security engineer, associate security engineer might be responsible for it. Who is responsible as or an IT administrator also? who have the access of controlling or configuring the devices is responsible for it.
Thank you, sir. And the next
Okay.
question is, 1 minute, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Are the security controls around in the data motion?
Yes, obviously. Obviously, I will forward a link related to this question, and there is a very good answer. Obviously, with the security consoles around in data motion, there is a very good article with me, and I will share it. Just please get into the next question now.
Sure, sir. And one more question is are email spanners internet vandals, sir?
Obviously, obviously, because whenever you get something that is a spam, because they are looking for. I believe, I don't know. You people are getting it or not. Are you getting some messages that your internet, your service provider, your SIM document is pending? Your connection will be terminated. Obviously, these peoples are trying to look for a person uh, who will click on that link. Means they are looking for your access or your intervention. They want you to get into the trap. That's why there is a security measure that if they find a signature pattern in a particular set of email, they send it to the spam, because there are a few filters that is associated with every email client. And if they find some signatures which are malicious or might be suspicious to them, they send those mails to spam. At times it happens that a legitimate mail goes to spam, but generally if we check, those are mostly the ads and the spywares, means that are there in the spam. And that's why we sometimes say that clear the spam mails in a regular fashion. Yes, ma'am. Obviously, they are. I will not say vandals, but they are harmful.
Okay, thank you, sir. Participants, we will post the feedback link in the chat box by the end of the day, and link of afternoon section will be shared shortly. Now we are going to wind up the section. Before that, I would like to express my gratitude to our honorable resource person, Mr. Saurya Ghosh, take time out from his busy schedule to grace this event. I extend my gratitude to our respectable principal sir, Dr. T.K. Sadish, and our beloved HOD ma'am, Dr. Emmeline Shining, and all other principals and faculties of different colleges joined here for supporting us. So, with your permission, we are going to wind up the session, sir. Once again, thank you each and every participant for your time and participation. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.